Hello and welcome to another episode of UpGrade with Maria Kay, the podcast where your success, freedom and happiness get a weekly boost. How are you today? Again, a huge congratulations for showing up, taking time out of your very busy schedule, I can imagine, to ensure that you are doing whatever it takes to constantly move up towards your next upgrade. If you haven't already done so, go over to the Facebook group, UpGrade with Maria Kay, and join us. Over there, you'll be able to post suggestions for future podcast topics, share your story, letting me know perhaps what you need or any progress that you've been making over the past few months or so. It is my absolute pleasure to hear from you, and I really look forward to getting your messages. As I say time and time again, moving upwards towards your next upgrade, towards the life that you have envisioned for yourself, or any spiritual or personal development journey, is ever moving, never ending. It's like a constant journey, hiking up the highest mountain. In simple terms, we never get it done, because as soon as we reach our next goal, along comes another. We are constantly evolving beings, which means by our very nature, we always want more. Now, that isn't a bad thing. It's a brilliant thing, because it means we're never likely to settle where we find ourselves. If, that is, we are able to follow our inner guidance, we are able to listen to those very valuable messages that we are constantly receiving from within. So if we are tuned in to our inner world, we would be constantly moving towards the next level, the next growth spurt, so to speak. So this means that there is always progress to be made. And in order to make progress, we need to be in action. We need to be actively doing, being, thinking, planning, in effect, whatever it is going to take for us to take the next step, to be on the move, as it were. Now, that doesn't mean traveling as such. That doesn't mean constantly making radical changes. What it does mean is that we moving constantly to the very edge of our comfort zone, and then taking at least one step outside of it as regularly as we possibly can. Whether that be jumping off the edge of a cliff for real, like I did back in the summer, or very simply making a decision to meditate for 5 minutes in the morning, or drink hot lemon water upon waking. Whether it's something tiny or huge, stepping outside of our comfort zone is what it takes to be constantly on the move towards our next upgrade. So as you may or may not know, perhaps this is your very first podcast with me. If so, a huge warm welcome to you. But as you may or may not know, each and every week I select a topic that will enhance your upgrade journey, that you will be able to use as a vehicle to move closer to the life that you desire, or to raise certain elements of your life up to a standard that you deserve, to a standard that that provides you with the best of everything, the best feelings, the best emotions, the best lifestyle, the best health, the best finances, the best work life, personal life, family life. Not to mention the unique desires that you have that no one else could ever possibly have, because they are part of your soul journey. And your soul journey is like nobody else's. Having said all of that, today's topic may come as quite of a shock to you. It's likely to put you out. It's likely to put your nose out of joint, so to speak, and raise quite a few questions. Today's topic goes against every logical way of thinking. Today's topic is likely to have your brain really racking itself, wondering why on earth I would wish this upon you. Today, I'm sharing something with you that I feel only after many years of doing this myself, is it actually possible to stand in the knowing that this is exactly what is necessary in order for one to absolutely soar above the clouds in an upgraded way of living. Today, dear one, I am here to tell you that I want you to fail. I want you to make mistakes. I want you to fall flat on your face, painlessly, physically that is, but I want you to make errors because it means that you are actually trialing. It means that you are in action. It means that you are provided with prime opportunities to learn the valuable lessons that you require in order to move one step closer to your next upgrade. I'm aware that it sounds a bit harsh, that I'm wishing you to struggle, that I'm wishing you to suffer, that I'm wishing you to perhaps go through hard times. Yes, it is harsh. But what would be even harsher is that if I wish you to stay exactly where you are, to never make any progress, to give up on your dreams, to settle for mediocre, second best, to take your lot in life, to decide that this is what I'm faced with, this is what I'm given, I may as well stop trying to change my life. That is what would be harsh. The great news is we actually do not need to suffer or struggle every single time we take a wrong turn or make a mistake. Because in fact, there are no real mistakes. There are simply opportunity after opportunity to deeper understand the mechanics of not only our journey, but also who we are. And when we are equipped with that information, moving forward, we are less and less and less likely to make those mistakes. You see, as we progress on our journey, we become wiser, and especially if we can be closely tied, closely connected, especially if we can develop a beautiful communicative relationship with our inner being. So the more we progress, the wiser we become, the less quote unquote mistakes that we will be making. So in a recent podcast, I talked about fear of effing up keeping us stuck. And since you're here listening to this podcast, it shows me very clearly that you don't want to be stuck anymore. It absolutely shows me that you are ready for more in your life. So boo to being stuck and yay to moving forward. And if moving forward in the early stages, or even as you progress, if that means making some mistakes, then absolutely yay. Big celebration. I want to see you in action rather than stuck. And I'm sure as you move forward, you will understand the value in that more and more. This may already be conjuring up ideas and images and feelings from past so-called mistakes that you may have made. And if not, just cast your mind back for a second. Cast your emotions back, your feelings back. Glance back to a time when life wasn't going so well for you. Perhaps you took a job that ended up being the wrong job. Perhaps you said something in a conversation that led to real difficulty or drama. Perhaps you walked away from a relationship that actually didn't need to end at the time. Or perhaps you stayed in a relationship that was detrimental to your well-being. You see, a mistake is simply, or a series of mistakes, is simply a decision that we make based on how we feel at the time, based on what we feel is going to make us feel better, whether it be through guilt, whether it be through fear, or whether it be through genuine feelings of this is the right decision for me. Often, decisions that culminate in mistakes are very closely connected to a lack of trust in our own intuition, a lack of trust in our own inner being's messages. But the good news is, as we continue to cultivate and develop our relationship with our inner being, the more we can deepen and strengthen our trust with that area too. So it's absolutely nothing to panic about. The fact that I want you to make mistakes is a good thing. I want you to jump in with both feet and make as many mistakes as you need to in the early stages, so that moving forward, you move forward with your wise head on your shoulder, the head that is closely connected to your heart, the heart that is closely connected to your intuition, the intuition that's closely connected to your inner being, because your inner being has your best interest at heart. So when I say I want you to make a mistake, please don't misunderstand that I'm telling you that I want your whole life to be a disaster, that I want you to struggle day after day, week after week, month after month, even year after year. Absolutely not. But what I do want is that you do not fear making mistakes, that you do not fear living life in the epicenter of your learning zone, because your learning zone is where the juice is. Your learning zone is where the magic happens. Your learning zone is where your next UpGrade is available to you right there, laid out on the table for you to simply claim and convert into the life that right now perhaps is still a dream. To convert into the life that right now perhaps you've suppressed. The desires that you have, that you've boxed away because they seem absolutely impossible. So the reason that I want you to make mistakes is because without them, your life would stay the same. Without them, there would be no progress. Without them, you're likely to dance around the periphery of your dream life for the rest of your life. And for me, that is akin to a crime. It would be the saddest thing that you look towards your dreams from the distance as if you were sitting right at the back of the theatre, barely able to see the tiny, tiny, tiny characters on the stage. That is no way to live this life that you've been given. That is no way to live this life that you've perhaps chosen. And I say perhaps because perhaps you don't believe that you've chosen it. But I'm here to also tell you that you have. So if you've chosen this life, then in the past, before you came into this body, then I want you to choose this life now as well. I want you to make choices every day that point to your desired life, to your soul-aligned life, to your dream life, because the word dream for many people seems distant and impossible, but I want you to start using the word dream as if you were using the word I am today able to live that life that I once deemed as a dream. I'm doing it. My clients and students around the world are doing it. So I want you to start to claim your dreams. And if claiming your dreams means making a few mistakes along the way, or even many like I have, then so be it, because you know that you will bounce back. You will bounce back from anything that you perceive to be awful or a struggle or suffering inducing. You will bounce back if you can be aware enough, if you can be present enough, if you can be unattached to the suffering and unattached to the struggle and detached from the things that are transient in your life, that are moving in your life, that are changing in your life. If you can be willing to rise above the drama, rise above the need to be a victim, and rise above the need to swim around in your own gunk, in the remnants of the problem, the repercussions of being inclined to talk about it with your friends or colleagues, to overanalyze, to be steeped in worry, to have all the details and control every single aspect of everything. If you could be willing to drop all of that and see the mistake for exactly what it is, a learning opportunity, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to rise up even higher, then your mistakes will no longer be mistakes. You will stop using the word mistake, and you will begin to embrace terminology such as opportunity, invitation, growth, golden opportunity, diamond in the dirt, leverage, a leg up, elevation, a lifeline. That kind of terminology will see you moving forwards and upwards with more ease and more joy, because that's what we want out of our journey. We want to feel joy, because joy means raised vibration, and raised vibration means a heightened state of living. And a heightened state of living means that you're nailing your upgraded life. Of course, I don't want you to expect to make mistakes or even seek out situations that you know will end in disaster. What I simply want to encourage you to do is move forward with a sense of adventure. Move forward with a sense of wonder. Much like a child learning to walk, the child will never intend to fall over. The child intends to learn to walk. So this is what I want to invite you to do. Rather than intend to make mistakes or expect to make them, simply intend to thrive, expect to prosper, expect to achieve your goals with the intention of doing whatever it may take to get there. With the intention to step right outside of your comfort zone, knowing that it will feel uncomfortable. It will feel, for a time, very different, very alien. And it will feel as though you're never getting a break. So that is what I do want you to intend. I want you to intend to keep moving forward as if you are a child on a mission to become physically mobile, knowing that once you do, the goodies that you'll be able to claim, the adventures that you'll be able to have, will be nothing like you've ever experienced before. So moving forward with the intention to have it all rather than lose it all is where we really want to have our focus. And this means moving forward despite our fears, despite our worries, despite the discomfort. Now, there's a whole other podcast, or there's a few all about that. So if you're new today and you're just tuning in, do go back into the archives and select the podcast that you feel really connected to, or you feel that perhaps you could use listening to right now in order to really enhance your upgrade journey. So I encourage you to be fearless on this journey. I encourage you to make a vow to yourself to do whatever it takes. As previously mentioned, we do not seek actively to make mistakes. We simply shift our focus to seek success. And along the way, if that means that we take a wrong turn, or we trip over, so to speak, then so be it. With the right awareness, the trip that we took or the wrong turn that we took will remain deeply embedded inside of us as lifelong lessons, as lessons that will ensure that moving forward, we never take that wrong turn again, the same wrong turn again, or we never take the same trip again. And as we recover from the trip, as we recover from the wrong turn, perhaps being and feeling a bit lost, we're able to embrace the opportunities to rebuild ourselves even stronger, even more emotionally, physically, mentally stronger and having utilized those opportunities to develop the skills that we need as individuals for the journey that we are on. So if you are building a business, then it's likely that the mistakes, quote unquote, that you've made have provided you with the opportunities to make better business decisions in the future, or to reconfigure the systems that you already had in place and bring them up to an upgraded way of working. If you've made mistakes in relationships in the past, then it's likely that those mistakes have provided you with crystal clear clarity as to what is acceptable or not in relationships, as to what you deem acceptable or not in relationships, and providing you with the opportunity to get really specific with the details. And when we get really specific with the details regarding any area of our life, when we are creating and co-creating with the universe, we are provided with the information of what we do not want, and then we can get absolutely specific regarding what we do want. So not only do we change for the better, but our manifesting skills, our manifesting mechanisms lead us towards becoming master manifestors, whether that's in business, finances, relationships, health, and so on and so on. Sometimes a mistake may not actually be an action, a physical action. It may simply be wrong thinking. It may simply be sloppy thinking, because you know that our thoughts create our reality, and they have a huge impact on what we see showing up around us. Now, this is something that I've had to learn the hard way, really. When I say the hard way, the really hard way, because I spent years sloppy thinking, and I realized very quickly in the early stages of my awakening that my thoughts have a huge impact on what shows up in my life. And even to this day, I have to check myself. Because the more you progress on the spiritual journey, the quicker your thoughts will manifest as your physical reality. So there you also have an opportunity to learn from your mistakes, as I did and still do. So as we draw to a close today, I'd like to leave you with a couple of things. The first one, if you haven't already done so, glance back into your past, not for very long, but simply for this purpose. Glance back and identify any perceived mistakes that you've made. And then in the very same vein, I want you to identify the gems. Identify the opportunities that you had to upgrade, and perhaps ask yourself, did you take those opportunities or did you give them a miss? I also want you to glance back and notice any time in your past that perhaps you deemed was a failure, and then have a look around and see where in the imminent future, in the imminent immediate future after those perceived failures, where were your upgrades? Because they're never far behind. They're never far behind. So identify where you perhaps broke down and where you perhaps broke through, up-leveled, and then spend some time celebrating. Celebrate those breakdowns to breakthrough moments. And now moving forward, I want to invite you to take every mistake, every failure, and convert it into your next upgrade. Until next time, wishing you as much courage to move forward despite your fear of making a mistake.